Hello everyone, I'm Eric.
And I'm Melissa.
And today we're going to do our Nintendo 64 collection.
Yep.
So I got my first Nintendo 64 in February of 2001, and it's this guy right here. I seem to recall at the time that I was trying not to get the Pikachu version, which seemed like it was everywhere. And of course now that's the most, it's more collectible than just the Atomic. But this is the system I bought. Atomic purple. And why don't you flip it around? We'll take a look at the back.
The back.
So these are all the games coming out at the time.
Yeah. We got Zelda, Pikachu, Kirby, Eternal Darkness. Remember that one? For the GameCube?
Yeah, that one never made it to the Nintendo 64, did it?
No, which is odd because you got this late.
I got it in 2001.
So they should have kind of either changed the box or known. Maybe they.
Yeah,
they
maybe
were
the
hoping.
box is old.
They were crossing fingers it would still come.
Yeah, well, the GameCube launched in 2001.
I don't know.
8 months later, so I don't know what was going on. Maybe I just got an old box. But anyway, this is my original Nintendo 64. It's in here. You can see the little barcode right here. I just keep it packed in here because I've actually got quite a few Nintendo 64s. Nothing fancy, nothing interesting. They're all the typical gray units, except for this guy. I keep them in boxes like this where I have the inventory, the unit, the serial number, the controller, the AC adapter, which interestingly on the Nintendo 64 the AC adapters have their own serial numbers etched into them. And anyway, so I keep them in these little boxes, and I do have one color variant which I got on Craigslist, and it is the Atomic Green, and it came with an Atomic Green controller, a regular green controller, a controller pack. This is what the Nintendo 64 controller pack looks like. This is the memory card that fits into the controller, although it seems that many games use storage on the cart themselves, on the cartridge themselves. So it seems to be a mix of this and on cartridge storage. Okay, AV cord with the gray end. Just like the Super Nintendo and the AC adapter. Okay, so that's, here, take those out of there.
Oh, sure.
And then inside I have my Atomic Green N64, which I cleaned up. It's got the expansion port, memory expansion in it. All my Nintendo 64s have the memory expansion now. And it cleaned up real good. So this is the only variant I have. I bought it and I was going to trade it, but then I cleaned it up and it looks so pretty that I decided to keep it. So I keep it all in these little boxes here with the contents written on the side, so I can scan them quickly in my closet. Let's get that back in here. So yeah, so happy to have that. That's the only Nintendo 64. So I don't have a lot of fancy hardware. But mostly I wanted to show my game collection. When I started, I was buying Nintendo 64 stuff new at retail, and it wasn't until recently that I started buying stuff used. And because I got most of my stuff new, it's mostly boxed. So you can see I have just a selection of the boxes here, and we'll go through them as we go through each game. And then we'll talk about those little accessories as we hit the games that use them. So I want to show you my collection. It's mostly I have it in universal game cases. You want to do that? Oh, we'll wait on that one.
Okay.
We can wait on that one. So I have them in universal game cases, and then I have all the boxes in these
pretty protectors. These
plastic protectors to keep them nice and pristine. So let's just go through these in order. Iden Chronicles. The first Mage. This one is not one of the ones I bought new. I got this a few years ago from my brother, and so I have it with manual and game, and I have it in this game case.
Did you get a 64 from him too? Did you get the system?
I did get it. Yeah, I did get a Nintendo 64. It's one of the ones I have. Banjo-Kazooie. This is one that I bought. I don't think I bought it new. I bought it used, but I do have it complete. So again, Banjo-Kazooie.
I can't believe he didn't have the Pikachu one.
Yeah, well, that's true.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, he had the standard one.
Yeah.
And Banjo-Tooie, I got this at Portland Retro Gaming Expo last fall. I don't have the cover for it printed yet, but I do have the game and the manual, and I put them in these game cases.
You kind of have a lot of covers you need to.
Yeah, there's going to be quite a few.
Yeah.
Blast Core. Bought this manual loose, and then at was it Northwest Classic Gamers Expo in January, I got the cartridge. So again, some of these are the more recent ones. Conker's Bad Fur Day. This one I did buy new back in probably 2001 or 2002, and I'm glad I did, because apparently this is a highly collectible game right now. And here's the box right here. I've got it protected. Had no idea when I bought this that it would be so desirable, but on hindsight, it's a prototype. It's a prototypical version of a highly collectible game. It's a good game that came out late in the console's life cycle. And it was also unique in this because it was rated M, which was a little unusual for the Nintendo 64. So this is sort of an example I look back to for games that I think are going to be, how to predict which games are going to be collectible in the future. So really glad that I picked that up when I did. In fact, I wish I had picked up more. Cruisin' World, just got this. I do have this boxed, but I haven't printed the sleeve for it yet. So. Diddy Kong Racing. I think I got this about 2 years ago. I don't think I have the box for this, and obviously I haven't printed the cover for it. That's just the manual there. Donkey Kong 64. This I bought new at the time when I bought my Nintendo 64. A few days after, it had the I have the yellow version. It had the memory expansion pack with it. Yellow cartridge. I think I had actually bought the expansion pack standalone, and then I got this game not realizing that it was going to come with an expansion pack too. Dr. Mario 64, I got this for my brother. Don't have this one boxed. I get these covers from the coverproject.net, and not all of them have the vertical design. So for those, I just use the one that looks like the box. I know some people prefer these because they look more like the original box, but I actually like the vertical ones because they look really nice on the shelf. You can see it says Nintendo 64 and then the title here. So I really like the vertical orientation. Here's another one, Excite Bike. I do have this one boxed. Last time I checked, the Cover Project only had the horizontal version of the cover. F-Zero. This is one I bought used later on, but I do have it complete. And of course, GoldenEye 007. This one I bought new. I think I actually bought this before I had the Nintendo 64. I know there were some games that were probably going on Player's Choice or going on sale. This is not a Player's Choice. I don't think it's a Player's Choice. No, it is. They were Player's Choice, and I seem to recall that some stores had them for cheaper, and so I started picking them up, and then I ultimately decided I should get a Nintendo to play them on. Jet Force Gemini. I can't remember when. I think I got this new. I have the box. It's right here. And I think I got this new. It looks new. I might have gotten it new. I seem to recall thinking that this was one that I wanted to pick up before it disappeared. And so I grabbed it. And again, I'm glad I did because it seems like it's a good game. Ocarina of Time, of course, essential for the Nintendo 64. This is another game I bought probably before I had my Nintendo. It's also a greatest hits, but so I think the cartridge is gray. The manual is gold, but the cartridge is gray. And I'd like to get the gold one, but it seems a bit much to pay to get the gold one just to have it for my collection. So I don't know, maybe someday. What else have we got? The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. Now I remember back in 2001 or 2002 when we were living in Pittsburgh, there was a mall and a KB Toys that had this game new for $75. And I wasn't going to pay $75 for a Nintendo 64 game in 2002 and 2003. And every time I went to the mall, I checked, and it was always there, and it was always $75. And finally, we moved out of Pittsburgh before I even bought the thing. So I got this used later. I do have it complete. This is the gold. This is the gold cartridge with the 3D which you won't be able to see, but it's the 3D label. So glad to have that. Good shape, good shape. All right, what else have we got? Madden 2000. I bought this at a thrift shop in February because it was just a couple of bucks and it was complete. I'm collecting the Madden for the Genesis, but I don't really care about it for the Nintendo 64. The only reason I bought it was because it was complete. And then the price was pretty good. Mario Kart 64, another. I'm sure this is a player's choice.
Yeah.
And I bought, that I bought before I had my Nintendo 64. I probably had 6 or 7 games before I even got the system. Mickey Speedway, got this from my brother. I think he gave it to me just the cartridge, and then I made a case for it, and then at some point I got the manual for it. So Mickey Speedway.
Did he buy some of his games used?
Yeah, he must have.
Because I was going to say, that doesn't seem like him not to have.
There was a
complete.
There was a time when EB Games was doing a buy 3 N64 games, and they'd give you a system for free.
Yeah.
That's actually how I got my second Nintendo 64 system, and that's how my brother got his. And then he got married, and I think his wife had one too. But yeah, they were actually giving away the system if you bought 3 games. Another one I got from him, Namco Museum. This one I have the manual for. I'm not sure if he gave me the manual or if I bought it separately. Don't have the box for this one. And another one, New Tetris. No box, have the manual, and I got it from my brother. Paper Mario, I bought this myself back in the day. I have it, the box is around here somewhere. But yeah, haven't played this, but seemed like an essential for the Nintendo 64. Okay, moving on. All right, let's do these. Perfect Dark, another one I bought back in the day. Have this complete, bought it new. This one I think requires the expansion pack. Pilot Wing 64. Just bought this at College Gamers for Kid. I got it complete, and the box was badly damaged, and I actually ironed it. And if you've not heard of that technique, you can iron it with a steam iron and a towel, and it worked really well.
White towel.
A white towel, and I put it in one of these cases, and it looks great. These cases actually make a lot of boxes look great, no matter how badly damaged they are, because they just put a shine on it and they make them look all squared off and everything. So just got this one, haven't really played it much. Pokemon Stadium. I think I found this, what was this? Was this a Goodwill? Or was it a Craigslist? I think I might have found this at Goodwill or something, and I grabbed it because I'm like, well, it's Pokemon. And of course it has, I got this from another, I didn't get these at the same time, but it uses this, what is it called? A transfer pack, where you can plug this into the controller and then you can put your Pokemon games in here. And I've only tried this once or twice. I tried it with Pokemon Yellow when I got that back in January. It's kind of cool. It transfers your Pokemon into your Nintendo 64 game. So that was kind of neat. Rampage. I think I got this from Craigslist too. I have it with the manual, obviously. Haven't made the sleeve for it yet. Space Station Silicon Valley. This was probably one of my better Goodwill finds. I found it at a Goodwill. I put it in a case because I don't have the manual, but I did put it in a case already because it's a game that I want. I actually desire. It's a little yellowed, so maybe I'll upgrade it at some point. But I'm glad to have this. I was glad to pick that up from Goodwill. And of course, now we're getting into the Star Wars games. Battle for Naboo. Don't have much interest in this game other than it's kind of a continuation of the Rogue Squadron series, so I thought I should get it. In fact, I might try to get all the Star Wars games for the N64 if I don't have them already. I don't know how many there are. Episode 1 Racer. I have this for the N64 and the Dreamcast. Need to make a sleeve for it. Star Wars Rogue Squadron. This I have complete. I bought new. This was one of the first games. I bought it after my Nintendo 64, but it was one that I definitely wanted to get soon after getting the Nintendo 64. And then, of course, Shadows of the Empire, which was one of the, I think it was a very close to launch game. I didn't have this for the longest time because at the time I always wanted to buy things complete. And now that I have these universal game cases, I don't care as much about having them complete because these cases are fantastic. So I think I got this from my brother. I do have it complete. I do have it with the manual. I remember we rented a Nintendo 64 when it first came out, and this was one of the games we rented with it, and Mario 64, of course. Okay, Star Fox 64. I bought this many years ago when the Nintendo 64 was probably just after the GameCube. I think it was about in July of 2002 because it was right before we moved to Pittsburgh. And I did buy it used, but the reason I did was because it came boxed, and it also came with the Rumble pack. So Star Fox 64, and of course Super Mario 64. I bought this game before I had the Nintendo 64. I think it's player's choice. Yeah, many of my games are player's choice because I bought them late in the life cycle. Yes, Super Smash Brothers. Just got this at PRGE, and then I went to a local store was having a Nintendo 64 night, and I went, and Luigi Freakout 1-2-3 was there, and we played a little Super Smash Brothers. And of course, I'm horrible. I barely know anything about this game, but I played with the Luigi Freakout crew, and they whooped mine. They whooped me. But that was fun, and it was fun seeing those guys. I see them at the various conventions in the Northwest area. Okay, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I think I got this at a Craigslist, and then I bought the manual later. This has got a blue cartridge.
Fancy.
I don't have many different colored Nintendo 64 cartridges. I think Donkey Kong and Tony Hawk. There's another one in here. Okay, Turok. This was a classic at the time. I mean, I remember thinking, "Oh, Turok, you got to have that for the Nintendo 64." Bought this new, have this complete, and I have Turok 2: Seeds of Evil. I have the gray version of this cartridge. I'm not sure if this is the one that comes with. It might be a different one that comes with a black version or a gray version. Turok 2: Seeds of Evil. This uses a high def. This uses the memory expansion pack and can do a high def mode, which is actually makes it look quite a bit better. But there's two other Turok games. There's Rage Wars, and there's, I don't know if it's just Turok 3. I don't have any of those, so I'll have to check into getting those. Wave Race. Got this a little bit later, probably 4 or 5 years, probably about 2006 or 7. Did get it complete. I basically bought this Wave Race Blue Storm for the GameCube. Was the first Wave Race game I got, and that was the first game I got for my GameCube. And so later on, many years later, I decided I should probably try out the Nintendo 64 version. And Wipeout, one of my favorites from. Whoops, did I do this backward? No. One of my favorites from the PlayStation is Wipeout, and so this was cheap, and so I grabbed it. It's a pretty good version.
Do you have all the Wipeouts?
I don't have Wipeout 1. I don't have the original Wipeout for the PlayStation, but I do have Wipeout 2, XL and Wipeout 3 and Wipeout something for the PS2 and Wipeout HD for the PS3 and one of them, Wipeout Pure for the... I'm missing 2 of them. I think I'm missing Wipeout 1 and then Wipeout, one of the Wipeouts for the PSP. And then I've got some loose carts here, which are not in alphabetical order. Cruisin' USA. I haven't put these in cases because I don't have the manuals for them, and they're not Space Station Silicon Valley. Quake 2. Got this at Cowlitz. Got this at Northwest Classic Gaming Expo. Same with Cruisin' USA. Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. And NFL QB Club 2001. Those last 2, Army Men, and this one I got on Craigslist.
And there's your other colored one.
Oh yeah, there's my other. So I got a mostly gray, 1 red, 1 yellow, 1 blue. That's kind of cool. I should put them next to each other, red, yellow, and blue. Okay, so that's it. That's my Nintendo 64 collection. Not too. It's not big, but I have a lot of the boxes, especially for some of the better games, and I mostly bought these things new at retail. I mean, I guess now about half of it's probably
Used.
Half of it's probably used, but I think it's a pretty tight collection. I mean, I am getting some scraps now, but I'm pretty happy with it, and I do have several Nintendo 64 systems, so it's definitely a good system, and it's got a place in my collection. So
Okay.
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed the video, like us and subscribe.